Hi everybody, I'm here with a review of the Jordan CP3 VII. Obviously this is the white Bel Air colorway, one of the first colorways to release. They are still readily available in many places, and not just this colorway but in other colorways. So the primary reason why I'm doing this review, I've seen a couple of the reviews from popular reviewers like Nightwing and Kick Genius, and those are the two that I primarily watch. And I'm just going to cover a couple of things I think that they didn't necessarily mention. Obviously they have a lot of reviews and volume to do, and they review things besides basketball shoes. I mean, you look at Nightwing and he's doing like basketball and clothing reviews, and Kick Genius, they also do like runners and things like that. So anyway, just a couple of things that maybe they weren't necessarily mentioned in those reviews. A couple of things about me. I think it's important to know, the style of the people who review the shoes and how they play. And obviously guys at Kick Genius are pretty athletic and they can dunk rather easily. That's not me. And Nightwing, I don't play like Nightwing. I don't think so, based on the videos that I've seen anyways. I run a lot, basically just going up and down court, try to beat guys down court, get easy layups, driving, kicking. I'll set screens for shooters on the team and for other perimeter guys, and crash the boards when I can, and I rarely post up. So just to give you an idea of how I play, it'll change the things that are important in a shoe for you, right? So that's a little bit about me. So a couple of things. The very first thing for this particular shoe is the toe box, and what I mean is you can see here, and sorry about the movement, I'll try to keep this as stable as possible, but I'm doing this with my phone, so not very professional. Anyways, you'll see how raised the toe is here, and that's something that you'll notice as soon as you put the shoe on. You'll notice your toes feel a little bit elevated, and more than your typical shoe, I think. And I have my Kobe 5s right here just to, we're gonna do some comparisons in a second, but more than your typical shoe, like I was saying. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that helps with the toe offs and makes the toe offs much more efficient. So be aware of that when you try these on. You will notice that, and again, I think that's a good thing. So I'm pretty happy with that. The second thing is the sock choice. Okay, I think you have to choose your socks carefully, and that just sounds kind of silly, like we're being picky, right? But they do make a difference. Like some shoes, and again, we'll use the Kobe 5 for reference here. It doesn't particularly matter which sock I pair with this shoe. It doesn't matter which sock I play in. I could play in the Elites over here, right? Nike Elites, which are obviously a very common sock nowadays. NBA socks and these regular Costco socks made by Head, and they're very thick overall, okay, very cushy, and I think it's just cotton. It doesn't matter. I have the same experience playing in any of these socks, okay. That's not true for the CP3 VII. Just to be frank, these are the worst pairing. I think these are the worst sock to play in for the CP3 VIIs, and these are second worst. So I haven't tried these yet, and I plan on doing that. And what I mean is, by worst, is there's a lot of friction. I don't know if it's something with the material and the way it works with the insole, but there's a lot of friction when I wear these at the bottom of my feet, and they get really hot. And same thing for the NBA. It's a little bit better with these. So I'm going to try just the regular cotton socks next time. But these are, the choices, right? And I think, again, I would avoid playing with these. And the CP3s, they run true to size, so I don't think it's a fit problem. And these will just help to fill out the shoe a little bit more than the Elites and the NBA socks. So again, just something to be aware of when you are playing which socks to choose. Okay. The third thing is the heel to toe transition on the shoe, and that's, to me, is the huge improvement over the CP3 VI. And that was the primary reason why I got rid of my 6s, was the heel to toe transition. There was something about the heel strike on the 6 that I just didn't like. And if you look at the 6, it's a very flat shoe. The base is very wide and stable, which is a very good thing for, I think, half court settings. And if you look at Chris Paul's style, right? He's a point guard, and he's like a pure point guard. He's running the offense. He's probing in and out, and and cutting and keeping his dribble alive and looking for passes and openings and things like that. So he'll lead the fast break, but he's not trying to beat guys down the court every time or just flying down the court like a wing might do. So they work very well in the half court setting. To me, the CP3 VI is one of the best half court shoes I've ever played in. But in terms of just running up and down the court, they weren't as smooth to me as, say, like a Hyperdunk or a Kobe 5. So that was one of the primary reasons that I had to get rid of those shoes from my rotation. Okay, so the feel underfoot is very, very natural. And you can see, again, you'll see a little space between the heel and the toe section here. Okay, and a nice like rounded section here. And same thing for the toe offs there. So to me, it's a very natural underfoot, very nice heel toe transition, and that's very important to me as a runner. Traction is another thing that's been mentioned by both Nightwing and these other guys. I think that they're right up there with the 6. The 6 now, to me, is one of the standards for traction. A lot of people like to refer to those as, having one of the best traction patterns in recent memory. And it's true, right? They have great traction. So they got rid of the full-length herringbone on the 7, and they have these sections here, right? But to me, it's right up there with the 6. I didn't notice any drop off, and because to me the feel underfoot is more natural overall, I think it's actually an improvement. So shoes can have like the greatest traction in the world, but if the whole package isn't working together, it doesn't really matter to me. Like a good example would be the Jordan 18, which has one of the the best traction patterns of all time. But to me, that shoe is kind of clunky. It's a little bit high off the ground, and it doesn't really fit, doesn't hug your foot that well. So again, there's an example where just having good traction isn't necessarily enough. I think you have to have good traction in a shoe that works with you, that moves with you and works well underfoot. So you also have these the flex grooves that help with that. So traction is very, very good on this shoe, I would say. And the court that I play on isn't necessarily, like pristine. I'd probably rate it like a 7 or 8 out of 10. So even on relatively dusty courts, these should perform pretty well. Okay, so the last thing is the Met bag, which is right here. Okay, so they have the zoom bag there, and much like the Kobe 5, right? So this shoe I think was the first one to use a zoom Met bag in terms of basketball shoes, right after the 4, which was that lunar foam. You can't really feel, you can feel the Met bag, but not in a bad way. You'll just feel it, like responsive, and it kind of works seamlessly with the rest of the shoe. It's a little bit different in the 7. You can definitely start to feel this, and right around maybe your 4th or 5th game. So I'm assuming most of us are, we're just gym rats and we're playing 2-3 hours a day. You will start to feel this. There's going to be, for me personally, I should say, I don't know if you will, but I felt some chafing and some discomfort. Okay, so that leads me to my last point here is recommendations for this shoe. If this is your only shoe, this is going to be your only shoe. A lot of people, like normal people, I don't know if I should say normal, but most people might have 1 or 2 shoes that they play in. The gym that I play at, a lot of these guys are wearing like Vans and runners. They're not like hardcore basketball players or fanatics or anything like that. But anyway, if this is going to be your only shoe, I don't know if I would recommend it, just because of the discomfort you might start to feel from the Met bag, because you're going to be playing in this shoe 4 or 5 days a week and 2-3 hours every day. You're going to start to feel it. You're going to, I think, I should say I'll feel it. I might develop blisters, and there's going to be some chafing and calluses at the minimum for me. Okay, so I wouldn't make this my only shoe. Now, luckily, I have other shoes in my rotation, so that's what I would recommend this shoe for. Is if you have a lot of shoes in your rotation, and you can afford to like mix things up and choose what you want to wear on a certain day, it'll be nice to have this shoe in your rotation. It's a very solid performer. And then the discomfort from the Met bag, because you'll be wearing different shoes, you won't be feeling that, putting pressure on that same point every single time you play. So again, overall recommendation, if it's going to be part of a larger rotation, I would recommend them without any reservations and without hesitation. But if it's going to be your only shoe, that's going to be a concern right there, the Met bag. And it's not like an extremely bad or uncomfortable or painful feeling, but again, if you are going to be playing in these every single day for 2 to 3 hours at a time, that to me, it will start to add up, and I wouldn't want to make it my go-to shoe for every time I play ball. So again, those points that I covered, the toe off, that's nice because of that that raised part right there. So it's a nice transition. Be careful with the sock choice. Okay, so certain socks you're going to be sliding a little bit more than others. The heel to toe transition and the feel underfoot is very, very good. A huge improvement over the 6 to me. Traction is great still overall. I don't think it's subpar or inferior to the 6 at all. And then again, that Met bag, that's going to be a concern. Okay, so if you're going to be playing these solely in these for extensive periods of time. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and I hope that covers some of the things that weren't covered in other reviews and gives you an idea of how the shoe performs in greater detail. Thanks guys.